Look at almost any piece of Python code and you can read it like a sentence. No clutter, no forest of braces, just words, spaced out, doing what they say. That feels obvious now. It was close to heresy when it began. Everyone tells you the same story. Python won because it is easy. I want to argue that the easy part is a side effect, not the cause. The real bet, the one people mocked for years, was treating the human reader as the most important audience in the room, not the machine, the reader. Here is where it comes from. Around Christmas in 1989, a programmer at a research institute in the Netherlands called CWI wanted a hobby project to fill the quiet week. His name was Guido van Rossum. He had been working on a teaching language called ABC, and he loved parts of it and felt frustrated by the rest. ABC was clear and friendly, but it lived in its own little world and did not connect well to the systems around it. So, he started building a successor, something with the clean ideas of ABC, but useful for real work, a language that could talk to the operating system and grow with you. He needed a name. He was not thinking about the snake. He was a fan of an old British comedy troupe, Monty Python's Flying Circus, and he wanted something a little irreverent. So, Python it was, a serious tool with a name that refused to take itself too seriously. The first public release, Python 0.9.0, went out in February 1991, and right away it carried the strange idea that would define everything. In most languages of the time, you wrapped blocks of code in curly braces or special keywords, and the spacing was just decoration. Python threw that out. In Python, the indentation is the structure. The way the code looks on the page is the way the code actually runs. People hated this. I am not exaggerating. For years, forcing programmers to line up their whitespace was treated as a joke, even an insult. Critics said it was fragile, that invisible spaces would cause chaos. But look at what it really did. It removed an argument that programmers had wasted years on, the endless fight over where the braces should go and how to lay out a block. In Python, there was nothing to argue about, because the layout was the law, and it made messy code impossible to hide. If your logic was tangled, the shape on the screen showed it. Readability was no longer optional. It was built into the grammar. And that is the thesis. Easy languages are common. Plenty of languages let you write a quick script without much ceremony. That alone has never been enough to win. What Python did differently was make code legible at scale, across thousands of strangers reading each other's work years apart. When you can read it, you can trust it, fix it, and build on it. A stranger can pick up your work, understand it in minutes, and carry it forward without asking you a single question. There is a small text that captures the whole philosophy. It is called the Zen of Python, written by a longtime contributor named Tim Peters. One line stands out. There should be one, and preferably only one, obvious way to do it. Think about how unusual that is. Most tools brag about how many ways they give you. Python quietly argued the opposite. Fewer paths, more agreement, easier reading. Guido became the center of all this. The community gave him a half-joking title, Benevolent Dictator for Life, or BDFL. He had the final say on what the language would become, and he used it to protect that core idea of clarity over cleverness, again and again, for almost 3 decades. The versions piled up. Python 2.0 arrived in 2000. Then, in 2008, came Python 3.0, a painful break that was not fully compatible with the old code, and the transition took years. It was messy and slow, but the community held, because they agreed on what the language was for. Then, in July 2018, After a bruising argument over one new feature, Guido stepped down as BDFL. He handed the language to a council and walked away from the throne. The benevolent dictator decided the thing he built no longer needed a dictator. So when someone tells you Python is just the easy language, gently disagree. The easy part was the reward. The real idea was harder and braver. Code is read far more often than it is written, so write it for the human who comes next. And that is the one obvious way I will ask you here. If this episode read clean for you, line up with us. Hit like and subscribe, so the next story arrives in plain sight, properly indented, right where you expect it. One channel, one obvious place to follow the history of the stack.